Hi, I'm Jenna, also known as RetroLemon, and this is episode 138. It's beautiful here. It is October 1st, and the colors are changing, and it is such a lovely day. I cannot wait to get back outside, but I thought I'd sit down and catch up with you guys this week. Our sweater knit along is going along. So we have one finished sweater in the FO thread. I know some others are done, and they're just blocking or weaving it in, so that's exciting. So it is a striped sweater knit along. So it's any pattern, any yarn, any sweater, it just has to have stripes. Even if the sweater itself doesn't have stripes, like doesn't call for stripes, and you stripe it, that works too. But you actually have to change yarns and stripe, not a self-striping yarn. You can use a self-striping yarn, just use another with it and stripe. But we have fabulous prizes. We have a skein of Liza, donated by a wonderful viewer. It is 100% merino wool in the busty colorway. And we also have a skein of the vine base. The colorway is Tango. It is a superwash BFL in nylon from Daisy Knits. Her stuff is so wonderful. So before we get too far into the show, I found something that I thought would be fun to share with you. I didn't know where to put it, so I'm like, I'll put it in the beginning. So, this kind of to me is like, you've come a long way, baby. So, this is kind of sad. It's really sad. But this is the first toy I ever made. Ever. Let's see. So it is, I think it's a free pattern from Lion Brand Yarn, and it's a bunny. It is an ugly bunny, his little tail. And I think the pattern was just called like Amigurumi Bunny. And so it was a free pattern. And it's crocheted because I started off as a crocheter. Didn't take to it real well. But I was going through a box. There was a box in the basement. And I didn't know what was in it. It was a bunch of junk. And in it was this bunny. This sad little bunny. And his ears are not very floppy because the yarn is Red Heart, and it's kind of stiff, and he's a sad little bunny. But I'm glad I found it, because I never knew what happened to it, and evidently I stuck it in a box probably when we were moving, and there he sat, in the box. So I gave him a bath, I threw him in the washer, because he just smelled like stale cardboard box that's in the basement. And, yeah. That is my bunny. My very, very first toy. He's not knitted. He's crocheted. And then the very first thing I designed. So when I started crocheting, it was really as the whole amigurumi toy thing was really starting to get popular. And my boys were really little, and they had a kitchen set. It was this cute little blue and yellow Little Tykes kitchen set. And I thought, oh, it would be really cool to make, food. So I was looking, and I was was never a very good crocheter by any means. But I was, trying to do simple things to start with. And the very first thing I ever designed, because I did not see a design for this. There's a ton of them now. I never actually put out the pattern or anything, but it was the first thing I ever went and made on my own with no real pattern. And when you see it, you're going to be like, yeah, you didn't need a pattern for that. But back then, as a very new crocheter, I was quite excited about it. And it is a Pop-Tart. So I just crocheted a tan rectangle, there's like a piece of fuzz, and a pink rectangle. And I don't even know how I sewed it. I probably just sewed it through the top loops of the crochet because you see nothing on the back. And so yeah, that was my big whopping. It actually looked like I wanted it to look kind of thing. But you know, everybody has to start somewhere, right? You don't just go one day, I think I'm going to design the most elaborate sweater in the whole wide world without starting somewhere. So that was my start. And I just thought it would be fun to show kind of where it all began, right? Without my bunny and my little pathetic little Pop-Tart, I wouldn't be sitting right here now. Trip down memory lane. So that takes us into finished objects. So I finished my Humility and Grace cowl. It is not blocked. When it is blocked, it'll be ever so more beautiful. But I finished it and I set it aside and I kind of forgot about it. So it does need blocked. But this is Daisy Knits. It is a DK base and it did not have a name on the tag. And it is an 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. And it is so soft and smooshy. It is going to feel so nice around the neck. So, have I even woven in the ends? Yes, I have woven in the ends. I don't trim my ends until after I block it, but they are woven in. So I just got to throw it in the sink with some soak. And it will be so lovely. But this yarn is so squishy. It really is. Look, I'll put it on. I don't know why, but I'm really kind of drawn to DK. And before, DK was like one of those yarns that I was just like, what do you do with it? But I've noticed more and more patterns are DK, which is nice. Because I kind of have that feeling about sport too. I'm like, what are you supposed to do with sport weight? Once in a while you will find that pattern that calls for it. But other than that, normally I'm either fingering weight or worsted weight. Or worst. I say worsted. I'm not the only one. I've heard people say worsted too. Oh, I got a new mug this week and I forgot to set it over here. I'll try to remember to show you next week. The other finished object, I have like a hair or buzz. The other finished object I have, which I'm so excited. Oh, because that's something else I need to tell you about. I finished it's an Adopt a Blob Monster / Ghost. So it's the same pattern because I went and I made it and they were all these cute little colorful blobs and I gave them all different faces. And I was like, duh, that would be a cute ghost. So, yeah, it can be a ghost too. So for Halloween, his mouth is not glued on. Because I finished him last night, and you know how there's some jobs that when you are just so tired, you're like, there's no way I'm going to do that now and not end up frustrated. That's how I felt about cutting out his mouth. So I cut out his mouth this morning, and I didn't glue it on yet because then it would still be wet, and I really don't like to take the weight that I put on it off before it's dry. So I was like, oh, I'll just wait till I podcast. So, and he came out big. He's a big boy. Like, I think my other one's maybe like half the size or 2/3 the size. But this was left over out of the baby sweater I made that I showed last week. And I have the ball band. So it is from Euro Baby. And it is Babe Soft Cotton Chunky. That's what the ball band looks like. And it is, let's see, 3.5 ounces. So it says 100 grams, 153 yards, and it is 55% acrylic, 45% cotton. And it is so soft and squishy. I totally want a blanket for myself out of this. Big time. I don't think I'd make myself a sweater out of it because I think it would be quite heavy and take forever and a day to block. But it makes great toys and great baby items. So it is a shop sample for the LYS because I was like talking like, you know, Halloween's coming up in October. And I've been kind of kicking around the idea of having a bit of a sale on patterns. So the Adopt a Blob Monster / Ghost is on sale through the 15th. So you have 2 weeks from today for $5 instead of $6. Which roughly ends out to be like 16.6% off. So that's why I don't do just like 10% off. And even at 15% off, you're still getting a better deal at $1 off the pattern. Just saying for people like me who think those things over. But not only is this one on sale for $5 for the next 2 weeks, so is Frankie the Candy Monster. So then you're thinking, well, gee, you made an Adopt-A-Blob monster for the LYS. What about Frankie? And let's just say he's kind of in the works. So I am in the process. I have 2 arms. 2 arms. And 2 legs done and stuffed for Frankie the Candy Monster. And then I have his body casted on. So he will be done tonight, I am for sure. So I'll probably just wait to glue on the face of my blob, or the mouth of my blob monster, until I get that done. So I am knitting Frankie out of Plymouth Encore. It is a 75% acrylic, 25% wool. And it is a worst weight, and oh, it's running away. And this is color number 1384. So it's a very grapey purple. On my screen it almost looks almost bluish. So I don't know if you see it as I do, where it's kind of blue, but it is like purple, like grape purple. And then, so for his hands and his face is this green. It's kind of a sagey green. And it is color 0451. And then black for his feet and his hair. And that is color 0217. Just in case you wanted to know. So, you know, I personally would not make a sweater for myself or something out of this Plymouth Encore. I'm a wool girl. I love wool. All wool products, not blends. But for toys, really great, affordable yarn for toys. And if I had to make a baby item for somebody, or especially like a blanket or something, I would totally use this for like a giftable item, because it is washable. So, I forgot there for a minute that my needles were attached. So you will probably not get to see Frankie finished on next week's episode. You'll probably have to go to my project page. Ooh, I have hiccups. To see him. I'm gonna take a drink. The air feels so dry today. But like I said, now October 1st through October 15th, you can get $1 off either one of those patterns or both. You don't have to pick. You can get 2 for $10, or if you already own one, go get the other while it's on sale. Other works in progress. Since this was kind of the closest, I got 2 more leaves done on my lefty. So I'm at 7. Wow, I know. Big whopping 7. I just don't, I love the yarn. Like, I love, love, love the yarn. I like the pattern. I just don't have a whole lot of love on knitting on it. It's just not my thing, knit-wise. Like, I can't wait to wear it. I think it's going to be super cute. I love everything else about it, just not the knitting part. So, there's my little leaves. Like I said, last week, I got into this tealy one, or turquoise, and I did the lime one, kind of a sagey one. So, it was a kit. It's put out by Wonderland Yarns, which is Frabjous Fibers. They do the, what is it, 3 feet of sheep. So it was a kit. I had to buy 1 whole skein of the gray called Tea Tray. And then it was a kit that came in like mini skeins of 5 different colors that transition. Not all of the kits transition. Some of them are just very different colors, which are fun. Pops of colors. But I liked this one. It's a light fingering because it's like 460 yards or something like that in a regular skein, and the pattern is Lefty by Martina Babe. Not really a whole lot I can say about it. 2 more leaves, that's it. Like I said, I like the pattern, like the look of it. I think it's something I would definitely use. Just knitting it, oh, it drives me nuts. I don't like doing the little leaves. That's my problem. Not a fan of the leaves. Which makes me nervous because I have the yarn to make the endless rainbow and I'm like, oh my god, am I going to hate that one just as much? Then I finally finished a sleeve, one sleeve, on my husband's sweater. So it has one sleeve. And yes, I leave all the little stitch markers along the sleeve. That way I know exactly how many I did and where it ended up so I can compare the other sleeve while I'm knitting it. It's a total cheater kind of thing, but I want to make sure the sleeves end up identical. And especially when it's something that I put down. If I wasn't putting it down, if I would have just knit one sleeve and gone straight onto the other one, I probably wouldn't have to do it. But I do. So one sleeve done. I just need to find buttons. I'm just not finding buttons anywhere. One more sleeve to go, and it'll be done because I've already done all the edging on it. I did that before I started the sleeves. Because I hate doing that. I hate having a finished sweater and then it's like, oh yeah, I gotta go back and do the neckband and all that other stuff. So I'm really, really hoping I have almost one whole skein left, plus one I haven't cracked into. I am so hoping that I will have a skein left that I can exchange for something else at the LYS. It's still like in the bag because I bought a bag of yarn to make the sweater. So it is still even in the bag. It hasn't seen the light of day since I bought it. It's been in the bag. In the project bag. That sweater is being knit out of LRA Superwash Heathers in the charcoal colorway. The pattern is out of Knits Men Want, and it is the Raglan Sleeve Henley. Yes, Raglan Sleeve Henley. That's what the pattern was like. So, so glad to almost be done with this. I had totally hoped to have it done by August. We're now October 1st. I'd like to get it done this coming week. We'll see what happens. I'll at least have it started, I promise. Because I keep getting distracted by shop samples. But I love making shop samples. So it is so much fun because like when you walk into the LYS, there's all my little toys on display. It's like my little friends greet me when I come in the door. So then, the other thing, it is so chilly. I wish I could crawl back in bed and take a nap. The other thing I am knitting on is another L'Envelope by Sally Melville. So, I have the back done. So there's the back. And then you basically, you bind off and then pick back up and you do the second half, which is the front. So I am right here. So I am just a few inches into the front. I guess if I hold it up, I'm trying to figure, it's kind of awkward, right? If I hold it up like this, that's how much of the front I have done. So I need to get Frankie finished up tonight and then haul butt on this. I was hoping to have it done by Friday, and if I wouldn't have needed to do the Ghost and Frankie, it would have been done. Ooh, I was up really late last night. And so I made mine back in May. Yeah, because it was in time for the Great Lakes Wool Festival. So I made one in May. I made mine out of Kudo by Plymouth, which is a cotton rayon silk blend. I was stopped constantly at the wool show. So many people asked me about the yarn and the pattern. Someone even took my picture, said they were going to put it on the blog. I'm like, oh God, no. But it was a huge hit. And then I lent it to the yarn shop during the yarn tour, and we sold so many patterns and yarn for it. But the problem is, you know, it's kind of the weather where I want it. I want to wear it. So I took it back. I felt so bad even asking for it. Not that it was an issue. She's like, yeah, go take it home. So I felt so bad taking it home, but then I'm like, do you want me to make another one for the shop? So the shop owner was like, well, sure. So I told her to pick out colors. So I told her to pick out something she'd like because, you know, that way when she was done displaying it, if she wanted, she could wear it. Or if it's chilly in the shop, grab it and toss it on. So this is Cascade Souk. Yes, Cascade Yarn Souk. I think it's considered a worsted weight because it is 220 yards. It is 55% silk, 45% wool. So it's a different fiber content than mine, and it's kind of thick and thin. I mean, I guess it's a worsted weight, but it really reminisces to me as a DK almost. So that is the Souk. It is color number 9. So as you can see, it's blues, grays, kind of like a dusty rose and a mauve. There's kind of like a little lavender-ish gray. These are not my colors, but they are totally the yarn shop owner's colors, big time. So I think it'll look lovely on her. The yarn is, it's not my favorite yarn. It's a single ply. There's really not a lot of stretch. I love wool. But that being said, I'm a little biased because I love springy, squishy wool. This is not real squishy. But it is nice. It is nice to work with. It has kind of like a tweedy look to it. It has the stripes. I mean, I would have said the same thing about the Kudo yarn that I knit mine with. Mine was a cotton rayon silk blend, and that had like no swoosh, no give to it. Wasn't my favorite yarn to knit with, but it looked beautiful done, and I love the finished product. So sometimes you just got to suck it up. Use the yarn that's going to work well with it, even if it might not be your favorite thing to knit with. But I think this is going to be beautiful. I think it's going to be a great layering piece. I love this pattern. I really, really want to make myself another one. The one I made for myself was striped. If you weren't watching or you don't remember, it was blues, teals, and greens striped. And I kind of want a solid one. So, and a wool one. Because the one I have with it being a cotton blend, it's not overly warm. It's perfect for a light, cool day, as this will be too. But I kind of want a warm, woolly one for really chilly days. And that is all I've worked on. So 2 FOs and 1, 2, 3, 4 works in progress. Not too shabby. I think just 4. Yeah. So the only Yarny goodness that I have this week, I did get this purple from the LAS as yarn support. And then I also got as yarn support 2 other Plymouth Encores. And I got this beautiful brick red, kind of a rusty brick red. It's 0212. And then there is this like marled yarn that I believe will stripe. And it is color 7172. So I'm going to use these together because it's like a gray, an amber color, a rusty orange, kind of almost a red color. See them together. And I'm going to make a Maggie the Mama Owl for a shop sample. So I love these together. I think it'll be great for fall. I'm almost like, maybe I need to make one for myself to like have out on the mantle or something with my fall decorations, because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. So I love deep reds and rusty oranges and like kind of squash yellows and all the autumnal colors of the season. And I think these are going to be great because owls are total fall-ish critters too. You could even do a Halloween owl. How cute would that be? Might be fun to have a Halloween owl, because I noticed, I mean, they're putting owls in all kinds of holidays, right? Like Halloween. I've seen Christmas owls last year. Bright, colorful owls for spring and fall, or spring and summer. They're all over the place. And that is it for the knitting this week. So if you leave me now, I'll see you next week, because we're moving into a slice of life. Oh, so I took the test last week, as I was talking about, for this potential job. So I took it and I passed. So it was so crazy because I had to go up to a college and take the test there, and I was so nervous. Oh, it was kind of nerve-wracking because you're in this very clinical, sterile-looking white room. You're in like these little cubbies, and you know, and when you go in and there's like a desk, right? And you can see the like cubbies, the room you go in, it's like all sealed and it's a glass door. But there's a monitor and there's a camera that views down on top of each person taking a test so you can see. And I'm like, oh God, I'm going to be on there. Anybody walking by will be able to see me. I'm like, not that I'm going to do anything wrong, right? But it's just that whole like, somebody's watching you kind of, oh my gosh. But so I went in there and I took it, and then it's all on the computer. So then by the time I checked out, because you have to tell them, you know, I'm done, blah, blah, blah. And they give you a little locker to put your stuff in. So I got my stuff out of my locker, you know, gave them the key and everything, and walked down the hallway. As I was opening the door to go out to my car, I got an email, and it was the test results. It's so crazy how fast they get it, because, you know, somebody doesn't actually grade them. It's all graded by the computer. So I passed. Now I'm just waiting for the call for the interview, which I was told could take 2 to 3 weeks. So, but the good thing is you had to pass the test in order to get the interview. So I passed the test. You had to have a score, a certain score. You had to have like 70 or above, and I was above, no problem. So fingers crossed, because I really, really, really want it. But it's just a waiting game now. So, but thank you for all those who were thinking of me. I really appreciate it. And gosh, what else has been going on? Really not much. Knitting has been has kept me really, really busy. The kids have kept me really busy with schoolwork and stuff like that. And the stuff my daughter brings home, being a 10th grader, I can't even begin to wrap my brain around sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was not doing this as a 10th grader. And I'm not even that old, right? Like, I can't even be like, yeah, I've been out of school for years and we did nothing like this. I'm like, ugh. I almost feel bad because I feel that's got to be a lot of pressure. I mean, I know I felt I had to really deliver grade-wise. Other than that, I have just the last few days been trying to work on my beetle. So that is coming along. I've learned many new things about it, like there is no heating in it, right? So I've been trying to learn how I can add heating if I want. So that is going to be a major undertaking in a way, like as in ripping out the engine and adding all these parts and getting rid of other parts. And I'm going, oh my god, my head hurts. But I've also learned, because I drove it all by myself for the first time over the weekend. My grandpa was coming to visit my mom, and my grandpa owns his own auto shop. And so I wanted to pick his brain about a few things. And so we have a date in the spring that when I get it out of storage, which is, I mean, just in the garage, when I take it out for, you know, from having it stored away for the winter, I'm going to a shop and we are going to spend the whole day together. And he's so funny because he's like, now you come out and you do all the work. I'll supervise and tell you how to do everything and explain everything. He's like, but you have to do all the work. He goes, and I won't even charge you for it. He wouldn't charge me anyways. You know, usually his deal is, you know, just pay what it cost him for the parts. And it's all good. But I told him I'd have all the parts because with it being such an older vehicle, I have to special order all the parts. Usually like from California. And, so we're going to make a day of it. So I'm really excited. But as I'm going along, the list keeps growing more and more and more. Like I need a new shift rod coupling. If you know anything about cars, it is where your shifter, your stick shift, meets the rod to do the actual shifting. Mine is shot. So sometimes it's very hard to find fourth gear. And I've never driven other stick before because I'm still learning. And I just thought it was me. Like I just thought, well, I'm just really not good at this. And that's why sometimes fourth is tricky to find. And no, that's not it. The part's bad. And then there's like this bushing thing, this plastic tube that goes in for it. That's probably shot because it's plastic. So, you know, the car's 40 years old. It's probably never been replaced. So it probably disintegrated. So that means I gotta tear all that stuff out of my car and redo it. Boy. I never thought my, like, wish list, like Christmas and whatnot, would be like car parts and tools. So I was like, oh yeah, maybe my mom would be willing to get me the new push rods that my engine needs, and maybe I could, you know, Grandpa might get me the, you know, something or other that I need, because I have the shift rod coupling where the shift stick meets the rod underneath to do the shifting. I have that on order because they're actually pretty hard to find for a actual like Volkswagen produced one. There's lots of reproductions, but they're cheap, and I was told, you know, why. So for an actual VW one, it was actually a little cheaper than a reproduction one, and so I have one of those coming because the place only had a couple in stock, and it was pretty cheap. Oh, excuse me. So, I mean, that's the thing. So, I've also now learned that my thermostat is shot. That helps regulate the temperature of the engine. So, I have to go out there and I have to investigate if the whole thing is broken, if it's just the one thing, or there's flaps or what. Anyways, I have to go out there and get under my bug and take some things apart and test some things out this afternoon. So that's what I will be doing after, or while this is uploading. I'll be out there tinkering. Other than that, not a lot, which is good, right? Because that means, you know, no drama, no nothing. Just everything's kind of quiet at the moment. Don't disturb it. So, but it does make me sad because, you know, pretty soon it'll be time to park my bug for the winter. Because, you know, living in Ohio, we get lots of snow, which means lots of salt on the roads, which means it eats the crap out of your cars. So, I don't want to do that to my poor bug. So, don't want that kind of maintenance. So, I will park it for the winter, bring it out in spring when the snow's gone. And that's about it for me this week. So go keep working on your striped sweaters. There's still like a whole month. So if you haven't started one, get on it. Fabulous prizes. And you get a sweater. So let's see. That's it for me this week. I am Jenna, also known as RetroLemon. I am RetroLemon on Ravelry, Plurk, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, and Fitbit, and Weight Watchers. And till next week. I'll see you then. Bye.